Hello, this is part 2 of my autograph stories video series where I take these autographed items from around my home and I tell you the story about how it all came to be. So this one, Huey Lewis in the News. It was a live concert in Charlotte, North Carolina, December 2nd, 1983. This is a really interesting story. So PB Scott's was a 21 and older, me and my friends like to think of it as kind of a frat boy bar. It was like it was hardly ever the music that me and my punky weird friends wanted to hear. We were always going to heavy metal shows and punk rock shows. And this was when I was in high school, junior high school or high school. Yeah. So I was a teenager and I lived really close to this place called PB Scott's, walking distance. Probably took me 20 minutes, 30 minutes to walk there. So what we would do is when me and my friends were coming home from school, we would sometimes hear on the radio the AOR album-oriented rock stations that we listened to. We would hear certain people being interviewed because they were playing that night at PB Scott's. So this was one of those instances where we were riding home from school. We heard Huey Lewis being interviewed on the radio. We got home from school. I think it was snowing because it was December. We put on some warm clothes. I put on my punk rock trench coat and my patches and pins. And my friend, who I believe had a mohawk at the time and a leather jacket, we got all punk rock, and we walked down there to jokingly meet Huey Lewis. We always thought these bands that played PB Scott's were horrible, and we just wanted to walk down there to see what we can get into and to see if we could, be punk rock with some of these artists that we, at the time, had really no respect for. We were just meeting them as a joke. So we walked down to PB Scott's. It's probably about, I'm guessing, 5 or 6, 4 p.m., something like that. It's after school. So we walked down there, and as soon as we kind of walk around to the back of the venue, we see the tour bus pull up. And the whole band gets out, the guy, all the guys you would recognize from a Huey Lewis video. And they were all dressed how they dressed in Huey Lewis videos. And the big, tall bass player with the shades and the cigarette hanging out of his mouth, he got off the bus. And when he got off, he looked at us and said, "Hey, guys, you waiting to meet Huey?" And we were like, "Yeah, we just heard him interviewed on the radio. We wanted to meet him." And he said, "Okay, you guys just hang out here. I'll come out and get you when he arrives." And so then we were standing out there, and it's kind of snowing a little bit. And about 10 minutes later or so, bass player peeks his head out of the backstage door again. And he goes, "Hey, guys, I know it's cold out there. You can come in here if you don't touch anything. I got a place for you to sit." And we said, okay. So we went in. He got us kind of through backstage, walked us around to the front of the stage where all the chairs were on top of the tables because obviously the venue was closed at that time. And he sat us down at this table, kind of right in front of the stage. It was a small venue. And he said, "Okay, guys, just hang tight here. Huey will be out in a minute." So me and my friend are sitting there looking around. And then all of a sudden, Huey Lewis comes out from behind the stage, walks right up to our table, and he says, "Hey, guys, how you doing? My name's Huey." And he introduces himself, and we shake hands, and he sits down. And before we could say anything, he says, "Wow, it looks like you guys are into some pretty interesting music." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, Huey, we're into like punk rock and like Dead Kennedys and Black Flag." And we're trying to kind of, freak him out with punk rock. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, Dead Kennedys. I'm from San Francisco. I see Jello out and about all the time and blah, blah, blah." He starts kind of talking about San Francisco punk. And we're just sitting there with our mouths open going, what does Huey Lewis know about punk rock? And then he says, "You know what, guys? You guys look a little young, and I don't think you're old enough to get into the show tonight. So me and the band are going to do a few songs for you right now." And then the whole band walks out on stage. Huey gets up there, and they did like 4 or 5 songs for just me and my friend. They did "I Want a New Drug" and all the songs that were being played on the radio. And let me say, this is right before Huey Lewis broke really big, or right as he was breaking really big. The show that he played after this, which was, I'm guessing, several months later, 6 months later, I don't know, he played at a huge auditorium and was headlining. And this is just a small little club. There's the little club, right? So, he became way more famous, and this was just at the tail end of his small venue career, I'm assuming. So anyway, needless to say, me and my friend were the biggest Huey Lewis fans after this, and we both went to see him at the big auditorium show, front row, and rocked out. I still have my tour shirt. But here, check this out. Mike spread the news, Huey Lewis, right? You got the other guys here who've all signed it. Dr. Gonzo. Yeah, so that's the story with meeting Huey Lewis and the News, December 2nd, 1983, in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll have more cool autograph stories coming up. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for hitting that little thumbs up button. It all helps. All right, bye-bye.